trying to summarize that, it's a little tricky. So one of the ways that I'd like to try to deal with this is to take a look at some of the highlights we saw, but then we'll target on 10 basic lessons from the book. Leviticus is one of these books that just reading it often isn't very fruitful because it really needs to be studied rather than just read. Many people regard it as the most important book in the Bible because it's the only book that focuses on holiness. It describes the requirements for fellowship with God, which is holiness. It goes, of course, through the precepts of his law, standards of conduct, and so forth, and also the penalties attached to those violations. But it also establishes the ground for fellowship with God, and that ground is sacrifice. And the sacrifices, the detailed sacrifices that we went through in the book, of course, each in their own way, point to the work or the person of Jesus Christ, the ultimate sacrifice. And, of course, a large part of the book also highlights this whole idea of a walk of fellowship, separation. And God calls us to be separate. We may not be under the law in the Mosaic sense on the one hand, and yet we learn a great deal about the need for separation by the study of this book. We went through the Levitical offerings, of course, in the early chapters. And we found that there were some voluntary ones, the sweet savor offerings that were to God, the burnt offering, the meal offering, the peace offering. There were also the compulsory ones, the non-sweet savor. Those are the ones that really are for our benefit, the sin offering and the trespass offering. Having gone through all the details of these different offerings, one of the things that we spent some time on in the book, especially when we got to chapter 23, is the calendar. In addition to all the offerings and all the ordinances that were laid out for the priests and the rest, one of the really provocative aspects of the book of Leviticus, one of the things that I hope that we'll all carry away with us, is this whole idea that the Jews' catechism is this calendar. Rabbi Hirsch said that many, many years ago, and it's a very, very provocative perspective to recognize that the God's calendar, which is detailed in large measure in the book of Leviticus, carries with it not only commemorative aspects, but also prophetic aspects. We notice, of course, all through the Bible, especially Leviticus, everything's heptadic. There are groups of sevens. We, of course, are familiar with the week of days, where we have the seventh day as Shabbat. We have the week of weeks, which climax in Shavuot. We have the week of months, which, of course, make up the religious year from Nisan to Tishri. And the week of years, we learned that there's actually a week of years, a Sabbath for the land. We also discovered that when you have 7 weeks of years, the next year is a Jubilee year, which also has some speculative prophetic aspects. And in the Jubilee year, all land reverted to its original owners. All slaves go free.